Today we're going to be working on the hips, and we're just going to start the practice with a block or a cushion underneath our hips so that we're sitting in a comfortable position on top of the block or cushion so that you can lift yourself up, just a little bit less pressure on the knees. And you can be cross-legged or sitting on your shins, whatever feels better for you this morning, this afternoon, this evening for some of us. And then once you're sitting upright, I want you to just lean back ever so slightly. Draw the belly in towards the spine and lift up. Okay, lift up. Grow taller through the crown of the head. So you've got all of this length and space in between the vertebrae of the spine. Can you let the collarbone be as broad as it's naturally able to be? Being a bone, it doesn't stretch, but just as broad as it can be. Shoulders are relaxed down the back. And there's a little lift of the heart as you slowly start to turn the palms of your hands to face upward. Okay, palms facing up. And then with all of those things in place, just go ahead and start to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to take a really nice, big, indulgent breath in through the nose. Imagine yourself growing physically, literally taller through the upper body as you breathe in. And then either through the mouth or through the nose, just gently sigh out the exhale. Let any tension melt away and leave the body as you breathe out. And I want you to think about the inhale as drawing energy in, fresh perspectives for the day ahead. More space within the system, within the lungs, within the heart. And as you breathe out, every breath out is the opportunity to begin again, to release the old and make way for the new. And then begin to notice, as well as growing taller on your inhale, how the ribs expand forwards and out to the sides. So left and right side body here as well. This feeling of expansion in all of the directions that you possibly can as every breath becomes a little slower, a little deeper, a little more relaxed. And then notice that powerful yet calm draw back to center of everything that expanded around the center of your body as you breathe out. Just as a way to introduce the connection of the breath and focus before we start to flow. 2 more rounds of breath, just like this. And when the second breath is complete, just taking a moment to pause, yet still breathing, still relaxed, still calm, and noticing how you feel. Check in with your mood, check in with your energy. 1 more breath. Begin to open your eyes. And once the eyes are open, just lifting the hips enough to release your block, placing that to the side, and then coming onto your back. So we're going to lie down onto our backs. And if you do have a strap at home, go ahead and grab your strap for me. And then left leg is either relaxed to the ground or with a bend in the knee, foot to the floor. And you're just going to take a little loop in your strap. If you're using it, place it around the right foot. If you don't have a strap, you're going to interlace your fingers around the back of the calf muscle or hamstring area here, the back of the leg. And I want you to just let the upper back relax to the ground. So you're only holding the strap or the leg in such a way that your upper back and your back of your arms can rest on the floor. And then as you breathe in, just start to point the toes up towards the sky. So you're feeling this release through the top of the foot. Maybe even into the shin already here, particularly if you've been running or cycling or walking a lot in the last days. Should feel really, really nice. And on your exhale, toes are going to reach towards you. So now sensation transitions to the back of the leg and ankle. And sometimes when we're on our feet a lot, we are getting super, super tight in these 2 areas. So keep on working with the breath. The inhale points the toes upward. The exhale points the toes towards us. And we're mobilizing the tissues in the sole of the foot, around the ankle, a little further up through the lower leg. And of course, because everything is connected in our body, we're getting into the whole of that chain of fascia through the back of the leg as well. And this is one of the simplest stretches shapes that you can come into when you've been on your feet a lot in whatever capacity, whether it's standing up, walking, running, carrying whatever it is you're carrying along the way, and just noticing how it feels to find some release and ease through the legs, a little mobilization and hydration of the fascia and muscles, little freedom in the tissues that allow the blood vessels and circulation to work through to the feet as well. Take another big breath here. And then turn the toes towards your body on both of the legs. And you're either going to hold the right hand to the strap or your leg. Left arm is going to go to the left side of the room. And just start to exhale. Reach the right leg away from center. Okay, and don't need to be touching the ground, and you'll see that I'm far from the ground today myself. So keep pointing the toes towards you, keep reaching away through the heel, keep the upper back relaxed, the grip of the strap or leg light, and then gently start to lightly squeeze the right buttock. So then you're firing up the glutes on the outside of the hip, and when we fire up those outer hip muscles, the external rotator muscles, we start to be able to get more sensation of release through the inner thigh. So there's this constant interplay around the body. When one side is engaged and working, the other side is releasing. And we always need that to be a balance so that we can find the right amount of flexibility. Now, by pointing the toes towards us, it's a little bit of an active stretch. So we're stretching the muscles while they are lightly engaged. So working them at their end range of motion, if that makes any sense at all. Take another big breath here. And then carry the legs slowly back up through center. Swap the hands over and right arm to the right side of the room, and just carry the leg over to the left side just enough that you feel a release through the outer hip. And then relax the toes of the left leg. So left leg is relaxed now. And some of you might even feel it down towards the outer ankle. I know when I've been running, and I have a bit this week, I feel it all the way down the outside of my calf as well. So just check in and notice where you're feeling these things. Sometimes this gives us information that we might need to go into these areas of the body again in a different way, maybe with tennis balls or foam rollers, just to get into the tissue repeatedly. And when we break down these muscles, these areas of tightness, we're allowing the toxins, we're allowing the blockages to release from the body, which means that when we come back to our activities, moving again, it's with fresh tissues. Not tired, not tight, not stuck. Energy in the body. Reach away through the heel of the right foot. Reach away through the ball of the foot. 2 more breaths here. Upper back still relaxed, so let the shoulders just be away from the ears. If you feel the shoulders peeling away from the ground, relax them down. And then let's carry the right leg back to center, little bend in the knee, and just release right leg next to left leg. Give the toes a little wiggle, particularly if those muscles felt like they were quite tight. Get the blood flow back through. And then when you're ready, we're going to switch legs. So you'll take the right leg and keep it where it is. Draw the left knee into your chest now, either using a strap or interlacing your fingers around the back of the leg. Shoulders stay relaxed to the ground, and for the moment, just inhale and point those toes up towards the sky. So sensation is all about the front of the foot here. Okay, all about the front of the foot. And then on your out breath, your exhale, toes towards you, heel up towards the sky. So now we feel it through the back of the leg here. And I want you to just keep working with the breath, exploring how it feels in your body. And those of you who have been out and using these muscles quite actively, what I want you to notice in particular is whether one leg feels like it's a little tighter than the other and where that is. And when we move a little more slowly in the practice, we are giving ourselves a chance to really notice where the balances and imbalances are in our body. And then we can use our other practices, whether that's strength training, conditioning work, or myofascial release, whatever it might be, to create a better sense of balance in the body. Take another 2 breaths, just exploring the freedom of the tissues now around the ankle, lower leg, and slowly working its way up into the back of the hamstrings as well. And then when the second breath is finished, keep the toes pointing towards you. Fire up the leg on the right side, so toes draw towards your belly. And then strap into the left hand, right arm to the right side of the room, and go ahead and reach left leg away from center. And once you're set up there, light engagement of the outer left buttock. Just see if you can fire that muscle up on its own. Or group of muscles, I should say, to be a little bit more accurate. But I want you to just notice how that affects the feeling through the inner left thigh. So for me, this side is always much more open. The other side is always much tighter in all areas of my leg. So I know that when I'm doing other activities, my right leg is either the stronger leg or it's picking up the slack of something that's weak a little further up the body. And this information just gives us knowledge about what's happening inside of us, how we can create that sense of balance that I always come back to again and again. Reach away through the heel, one more breath. And then let's carry the legs slowly back up to center. Swap the arms over, swap the hands over. Left arm to left side of the room, and then left leg now towards the right side, just enough that you get into that outer left hip. And just explore how it feels as you relax the right leg here. Notice how one side feels compared to the other. Now, having said that one leg is always tighter than the other, for me, this side is tighter on the outer hip. So sometimes it can be a little confusing as to why these things are, but still it's helpful for us to know. Reach away through the heel, reach away through the ball of the foot, lengthening and space creating, toxins releasing. And when we release the old, we make space for new energy. And that's what we want as we head into this brand new week. Almost time for a brand new month. Full moon yesterday or the day before. Take another big breath. And then go ahead and carry the leg back up to center. Little bend in the knee. Foot comes back down to the ground. Leg follows. And then just pause there for a moment. Wiggle the toes if you feel like you need to get some circulation back in. And then go ahead and reach the arms up overhead. So now a full body stretch. Reach the toes away from center now. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. Get into those harder to reach areas as you lengthen the front body. Just reminding your body how balance feels between front and back. And then hug the knees into the chest. Take hold of the back of the thighs. Lift your head up. Lift your shoulders up. And try and draw your forehead and nose towards the knees. So a little bit of a core engagement. And then keep that core engagement. Just rock and roll yourself back and forth. So rather than momentum, it's going to be a little bit smaller in terms of those rock and rolls. And then eventually rock and roll yourself all the way up to a seat. Okay, a little bit of side body work and then we'll start to flow. So keep the spine nice and long. Change the cross of the leg. So the leg that you were working with before is now in front. And then left hand down, right hand up to the sky. And as you exhale, let's lean over to the side of the room. So you're getting into QL, the muscle here that is supporting the spine in lots of different things when we're twisting, when we're standing up straight. And it's an area that gets super, super tight, an area that gets super, super weak from sitting down a lot as well. Breathing into the space in between the ribs so the lungs can expand and draw more energy in. And then let's slowly place the right hand down, now left hand up and over. And we're also mobilizing all of that tissue that supports the lower back, where the psoas muscle, amongst others, is inserted. And the psoas is that area that gets super, super tight on the front of our hip. Come back up through center one more time in each direction, left hand down, right hand up and over. So by creating a little bit of space and mobility in the lower back, we start to create a little bit of release immediately for the psoas, which will continue in a minute as well. Come back through center, right hand down, left hand up and over. And psoas is that muscle that is thought to be the emotional center of our body. It's connected into our breathing, our diaphragm, but it's also the muscle that can get a little tight and fatigued and overused chronically sometimes when we're sitting down a lot, when we're running, doing repetitive movements again and again. Come on back up to center. Now from here, just roll yourself over into tabletop. Fingers nice and wide. And although we're mobilizing the spine, what I want you to visualize is this area around the pelvic bowl. So where the hips connect into, where the spine connects into here as well. Notice the movements here as we move. So fingers wide. As you inhale, soften the belly, reach the chest forward. So we bring the spine into extension. And as you exhale, push the ground away. And now we're flexing the spines. We're rounding the spine forward. Inhale, chest comes forward, pelvic bowl tilts forward. Exhale, pushing the ground away, rounding the spine, pelvic bowl tilts backwards. And then close your eyes, just work with your breath as you move back and forth like this. Awareness of the things that are connected, so the pelvic bowl and spine, pelvic bowl and legs, knowing that this web of fascia and connective tissue that supports us, holds us in place throughout the whole body, is slowly, slowly being awakened as we move like this. And it's also then awakening the muscles and finding a little bit more freedom for the muscles to release into when we start to flow. One more breath. And then you'll slowly return into neutral here. Walk the fingers forwards a little, tuck the toes under. Let's lift the hips and the knees, coming up into downward facing dog. So hands are pushing the ground away, thighs are reaching up. We're going to start to bend the knee, walking the dog. Lifting one heel, bending the same knee, getting into the back of the legs. We've been here already, so it should feel pretty good, pretty familiar. Keep on pushing the ground away as you lift the hips high. Notice how it feels around the chest, around the shoulders here as well. And on your next inhale, pick the right leg up, three-legged downward dog. And then on the exhale, open the hip to the side of the room. So nice and strong now. We're strengthening the muscle on the outer hip and back of the leg. And then bend the knee, squeeze the heel to the bottom. Keep lifting up through the right knee. And at the same time, push down through the left heel. So you're getting a really delicious stretch through the back of that left leg, as well as opening up through the front of the right hip, as well as strengthening through the back of right hip. Take a breath. And then square the hips slowly to the ground and step the foot between the hands. Lower left knee down. Come onto the top of the foot. Guide the fingers up to the sky. And as you do, draw the belly in and away from the thigh here. Sink down nice and low. And just take a moment to acknowledge the sensation through the front of that left hip. Lightly squeeze left buttock here. Glutes engaging. Right hand to the ground. Inhale, reach up through left fingers. Exhale, lean over to the right. So you're getting into left side body as well as the front of that left hip. Working the muscles around the right thigh here. And just notice how that feels. Fingers nice and strong on the left hand as well. And then just slowly guide left hand down to the ground. Pick up left foot and reach around, right hand up to the sky for a moment first. So get the twist in the spine. And then reach for the foot and hand to connect and push the foot into the hand. So an active stretch here for the quads and psoas again. If you can't reach the foot, just reach the hand towards the foot and keep squeezing the foot towards your bottom instead. And then some of you might come onto the outside edge of right foot, which allows you to get deeper into psoas. And can you lean back more with right shoulder? Keep pushing foot into hand so it's a really nice end of range stretch and strengthener. And we spend a lot of time in yoga stretching. And in my classes, we spend a lot of time strengthening. So this is kind of the midway meeting point. That perfect balance that movement needs. We need everything. Flexibility, mobility, strength to be healthy in these skeletons that we live in. When we're going to finish the breath we're on, we're going to release the hand, release the foot back to the top of the mat, and lift the knee as you step back to downward facing dog. Hands push the ground away. Acknowledge how it feels through the legs between left and right. And then inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, squaring the hip towards the side of the room, legs straight for a moment. And then bend the knee, heel towards the bottom, knee towards the sky, right heel down towards the ground. Notice all of those different things happening at once through the hips here. And your belly's not relaxed. You're still drawing your belly into the spine. Your hands are still actively pushing the ground away. Square the hips to the ground and just slowly step left foot forward. Right knee comes down as we work to the second side now. Fingers to the sky. Keep belly drawn in and away from the thigh, lightly engaging outer right hip. Sinking down into the hip as we lift ourselves up here. We're going to take left hand to left thigh. Inhale, right hand up. Exhale, lean over to the left. So again, getting into right side body, but predominantly feeling it through front of right hip. Keep on reaching, keep on extending. Just notice how that feels for you. And if you've been sitting down a lot, running a lot, this is going to feel really, really nice. Maybe nice isn't the first word you think of, but eventually it's going to feel really nice. And then place the hand down to the ground, pick up the right foot, squeeze the heel to the bottom, twist first, left hand to the sky, left ribs, chest and shoulder reaching over. And then reach around with the hand, take hold of the foot if you can, push the foot into the hand, lean back with left chest, shoulder area. If you can't reach the foot, remember you're just getting towards the foot. Come onto the outside edge of left foot, knee draws out a little if you want to. Right hand keeps pushing the ground away, so you've got that opportunity to really get into the spine as well. Make sure the foot's not just resting in the hand, it's almost pushing into it. And you're reaching down with the right hip, not moving away from it. Take another breath. And then release the foot, bring the hand to the inside of left foot. Turn left toes to the left corner of the mat, and then tuck right toes, lift the knee. Step forward into Malasana. So Malasana is that yogi squat. Knees out, toes out. Hands come into heart center here. And you're sitting up tall, collarbone broad. You're using your arms to open the legs up. And you can make it a little more active if you want to by pushing the thighs into the hands, hands against the thighs. And just close your eyes for a moment. Notice how that feels. Slow down the breath, collarbone broad, strong upper back. One more breath here. And then hands to the ground, turn the toes forward, forward fold. Walk the feet a little closer together now. Interlace the fingers behind the back and reach the hands away from the lower back here. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Check in with how the hamstrings are doing. Lightly engaging the belly to draw your torso closer to the legs, reaching hands away from lower back, strengthening in between the shoulders. Head heavy, neck relaxed. And then just slowly release the fingers to the floor, belly to the spine, roll yourself up vertebrae by vertebrae. A really nice way to articulate upper back. So get firm through the feet, push down through all of the corners, hands come to heart center. The inhale lifts the fingers up, the heart lifts as well. On the exhale, we hinge from the hips, hands through heart center to forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Hands down, step right foot back and turn the foot to a 90-degree angle. Inhale, lifting up into warrior two. So fingers reach away from each other. Hips are opening to the side of the mat now. Strong through those muscles in the buttocks here. Gaze towards the left middle finger. Chest open. Sink a little deeper into those hips. Notice how that feels, that balance of strength and flexibility. Keep the legs as they are. Flip left palm up. Reach the hand back as right hand travels down right leg. So we come into side body. And although it's really nice to get into the tissues in the side body, what we're also doing is just mobilizing the fascia in the lower back here. Remember we said earlier, lots and lots of the muscles insert into that tissue group. So just making sure there's plenty of space. One more breath. Come back up to a straight spine. Bring the hands to heart center. Straighten out left leg. Turn the right toes out to the corner. Sink down into Skandasana. Use your hands on the floor to help you if you need. Take a nice big breath here. You're going to lean your right arm in front of right leg. If that's accessible to you, left arm reaching back. So we add a little spinal twist into this nice, deep, juicy adductor inner thigh opener. Take another breath. Perfect. Place the hands to the ground. Turn yourself to face the back of the mat now and stay on the ball of the left foot, right foot forward. Inhale, come on up to crescent pose. Reach away with left heel, fingers nice and strong. Sink into the hips, take your time. And then bring the hands to heart center, and on your inhale, get long through the spine. On the exhale, twist to the right side of the room. Reach right hand back, left hand forward. And you're going to flip left palm up, reach left hand to the sky, right hand travels down to find the back of left leg, getting into the front of that left hip again. And just noticing how that feels for a moment. Still strong through the legs, left heel reaching away, twisting a little through the spine, big breath. And then slowly cartwheel the hands to the ground, straighten out right leg. So you're coming onto the heel of your right foot. Inhale, spine long, toes are lifted perhaps. And then exhale, lower your torso down over right leg. So you're getting into hamstrings quite directly here. Back of the ankle, back of the calf, back of the leg. Head is heavy, neck is relaxed, belly's lightly drawn in. And it's like you're trying to draw right hip back, left hip forward. Use blocks under your hands if you need to. 2 more breaths. 1 more. Bring the bend into the knee, walk the hands forwards, step it back to plank. Strong through the legs, hands strong, pushing the ground away, strong upper back. Chaturanga. Inhale, your choice of uplift. So chest forward, shoulders back, strong upper back. And then tuck the toes under, lift up through plank, making your way to downward facing dog. Take a nice big breath here. Start to look forward as you soften your knees. Spring your feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, hands down, step left foot back, lower the heel to a 90-degree angle, and then inhale, warrior 2, second side. So we open up through the second half of the hips now, sinking down nice and low, fingers reaching away from each other, torso towards the side of the mat. Okay, gaze to middle right fingers. Keep the legs strong, combination of strength and flexibility here. Flip right palm up. Hand lifting up, left hand traveling down the back of left thigh, right hand reaching back, shoulder draws back, fingers extend. Finding a little space through the side body, the thoracolumbar fascia in the lower back, helping out the legs a little more. 1 more breath. Come back up to standing and then hands to heart center. Straighten out right leg, turn left toes to the corner, sink down into Skandasana. Use hands if you need to. I always need to on this side. Chest lifted, collarbone broad. If you feel balanced and steady, left arm in front of left thigh, twisting as you reach right arm back. Otherwise staying where we were. Letting that be okay. Take another big breath. And then hands to the ground, walk yourself to face the top edge of your mat now. Stay on the ball of the right foot, and we come up into crescent pose. Okay, so you're sinking down, right heel is reaching away, nice big breath. Strong through the core, hands to heart center, inhale. Exhale, twist us to the left. Left hand back, right hand forward. Flipping right palm up, hand reaches up and back, left hand travels down through the back of the right thigh. Strong through the legs, keep reaching and extending with the fingers. Notice how that feels on the second side, front of the body opening. Take another breath. And then gently release the hands to the ground and come onto the heel of right foot and left foot. Left toes reach away from the floor, both legs straighten. Spine long, inhale. And then exhale, folding over that left leg. Okay, blocks under hands if you need to. Doesn't matter how deep you go. Right hip forward, left hip back. Just acknowledging space in the lower back and the back of that right leg. Head, heavy, neck relaxed. 1 more breath. And then when that breath is finished, little bend into left knee. Hands walk forward. Step back to downward facing dog. Hips nice and high, thighs reaching back. Slow down the breath. Looking to the middle of your mat, taking little baby steps to get there. Lower the bottom to the floor. Once you get there, just let the knees drop out to the side, feet touching. Interlace the fingers around the toes. Spine long on our inhale here. On our exhale, leaning our way forward, trying to keep our collarbone as broad as we can, coming into inner thigh area here. Just acknowledging the space that we find, acknowledging where restrictions are. Some of us might feel this in the lower back, for example. Take another 2 breaths just in this simple shape, allowing us to let the knees draw out more, just engaging outer hip to help us to get more sensation of release through inner thigh. And then we slowly release the hands. We roll ourselves up just as slowly, hands under the knees. Extend the legs out ahead of you. Toes point back towards you. Arms reach up to the sky. Inhale. Keep the belly lightly drawn in as you exhale, folding over the legs. Hands to wherever you can get them. Spine long on the inhale. Collarbone remains broad. Exhale, folding. And then take your gaze down or towards the end of your legs. We want to keep a nice long line through the back of the neck here rather than straining forward, which is that position that we spend so much of our day in, right, when we're looking at our different devices. Taking another 2 breaths just here, exploring how the back of the legs feel. And then the second breath finishes rolling yourself up to sit nice and tall with a bend in the right knee. Picking the foot up and carrying it across to the outside of the left leg. Sitting tall on the inhale. Exhale, twisting to the right side. So your right hand comes to the ground behind your lower back. Your left elbow or the crook of the elbow is hugging the knee into your body. I want you to almost push the leg into the arm, push the arm into the legs. It's pretty active. Spine long on your inhale, twisting. Ribs, chest, shoulder back as you exhale. Belly drawn in, side stomach muscles working, toes point towards us on the left leg. Take another deep inhale, twist a little further if you can. Exhale. And then slowly, slowly unwind back to facing forward, swapping rather the legs over. So left leg crosses over right leg stays straight, toes towards us. We sit tall on the inhale. On the exhale, we twist to the left, we hug the knee in towards the crook of the elbow, left hand to the ground behind us. Inhale, spine long. Exhale, twisting torso around to face left side of the room. Ribs, chest, shoulder, draw back. Gaze and neck are the last things to move. And just notice how this feels. You're pushing leg and arm almost against each other actively. Last big breath. And then slowly start to unwind and release. Now we're going to lie down onto our back for Shavasana. Some of you might prefer to sit up because it's a shorter Shavasana in these classes. So feel free to come into a comfortable seat if you prefer. Otherwise, lie yourself down onto your backs. Take up as much space as you need to. Cover your eyes if that feels like a nice idea or a necessity for your practice. Shoulders melting down to the ground, arms out to a comfortable position. Closing your eyes. Settling into this place of stillness. This place of surrender. Those of you lying on your backs, just giving the fingers and toes a little wiggle. Arms reach up overhead, coming to a full body stretch. Drawing the knees in towards center as you give them a hug, rolling a little from side to side. Eventually rolling over to rest on your right side. Keeping your eyes closed as you push the ground away and lift yourself up to a seat, meeting those of us who are seated. And as you bring your hands together at heart center, just take a moment to notice how you feel. Physically, mentally, how the breath is. Bowing our head to our hands in gratitude for our health, for our practice. Namaste.